Okay, so welcome to the deep dive. Today we are going to get into the fascinating story of Zomato.
Zomato.
Now, you're listening to this because you want to get a better understanding of how companies like Zomato grow and how they work and their business models, and that's exactly what we're going to do today.
Absolutely.
Consider this like a crash course, a shortcut to really understanding how Zomato came about, what strategies they used to grow, and what their future holds.
Yeah, and we've got this really cool case study that unpacks Zomato's whole journey.
Right.
You know, from the initial idea to becoming this major player in the food delivery game.
Yeah.
We really want to dig deeper than just a timeline, though. You know, we want to understand the why behind their decisions.
Yeah, the thinking.
And what kind of impact those decisions had.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the how, the why, and what happened because of it. So let's start at the very beginning. How did Zomato even come about?
Well, it's kind of a classic story, you know, like the light bulb moment. The founders, they were both IIT graduates, and they experienced this everyday problem, like everybody else, probably the long wait times at their office cafeteria.
Oh, yeah.
Super relatable, right?
Yeah, totally. I've been there.
So they took this small daily hassle and turned it into the foundation of Zomato.
Wow. So they saw an opportunity, basically.
Exactly. And that's how Foodie Bay was born.
Foodie Bay.
Yeah. Their initial platform, it was all about discovering restaurants, you know, finding menus, seeing the cost, and reading reviews.
Right, like a one-stop shop for all things restaurant.
Exactly. But here's the thing. They didn't just limit themselves to a local market.
Okay.
They were thinking big from the get-go. We're talking over 1.4 million restaurants in 23 countries.
Wow, that's ambitious.
Yeah, they had global ambitions right from the start, and that's also kind of where the name change to Zomato came in. You know, it gave them that global brand identity that matched their vision.
I see. So the name change was strategic.
Definitely. By 2016, they had this really sophisticated app up and running. It wasn't just about discovering restaurants anymore. It was about getting that food delivered to you.
Right, like seamlessly going from I'm hungry to food at my door.
Exactly. Convenience was key.
So they basically created this whole ecosystem around food. And that brings us to the business model, right? How does Zomato actually work? What's the engine behind all of this?
Well, at its core, Zomato is a facilitator in the online food world. They don't own the restaurants or have their own kitchens.
Right.
They connect the restaurants, the supply, with the hungry users, the demand.
I see. So it's all about connecting the dots.
Yeah, and providing all the information you need, you know, menus, reviews, cost comparisons, even delivery logistics.
So they're serving different groups of people to make this work.
Exactly. We can break it down into 3 main customer segments. We've got the local restaurants who benefit from increased visibility.
Right.
Then there are the reviewers who contribute all the valuable content shaping perceptions, influencing decisions.
The tastemaker.
Exactly. And of course, we have the end users, the people actually ordering the food.
The hungry masses.
Exactly.
And they've got those clever loyalty programs, right?
Oh.
I've definitely used Zomato Gold before.
Oh, yeah. Zomato Gold Piggy Bank. These programs are designed to give users something extra, you know?
Right.
Perks, benefits, rewards. It's all about encouraging repeat business and building loyalty.
Because it's a competitive market, right?
Absolutely. You've got so many options these days. So discounts and loyalty programs become really important for attracting and retaining customers.
Make them stick around.
Exactly.
But they're not just stopping at delivering from existing restaurants. They're getting into the whole cloud kitchen thing now, right?
That's right. It's a really interesting development. Cloud kitchens are essentially delivery-only kitchens.
Oh, wow.
No dine-in area, just optimized for getting food out the door quickly.
Interesting. So it's like their own little food production hubs?
In a way, yeah. It allows them to be more efficient in certain areas.
Yeah.
Get food to people faster and experiment with different cuisines and concepts without the overhead of a traditional restaurant.
I see. That makes sense. It sounds like a smart move, but also a crowded space, right?
You're absolutely right. The online food delivery market in India is booming. It's attracting tons of investment, but that also means fierce competition.
So who are they up against?
Well, you've got Swiggy, a major domestic competitor.
Right.
And then global players like Uber Eats and Food Panda. Although Food Panda's journey in India has been a bit of a roller coaster.
A roller coaster. Tell me more.
Well, they've been acquired a couple of times.
Oh, really?
First by Delivery Hero and then by OLA. It shows just how dynamic and competitive this market is.
Wow. So not everyone makes it right.
Unfortunately, no. We've seen companies like Tiny Owl and Eat Fresh shut down.
Yeah.
It's a tough market.
It highlights that just having a good app isn't enough, right?
Exactly. You need a solid business model, a path to profitability, and the ability to scale your operations sustainably.
So how has Zomato managed to not only survive, but thrive in this cutthroat environment?
Well, their marketing strategists have played a huge role.
Okay, so they're doing something right on the marketing front.
Definitely. They've been very proactive and digitally focused from the start. They understood the power of building a strong online presence and engaging with customers.
And their social media game is strong. I see them everywhere.
Yeah, they've built a massive following across platforms. The report mentioned 1.5 million on Twitter, over 800,000 on Instagram, and a strong presence on LinkedIn, too.
Wow, those are big numbers. But it's not just about the numbers, right?
No, it's about the content they create. They tap into trending topics and create posts that resonate with their audience, encouraging sharing and discussion.
I remember that coffee bean Olympic rings thing they did during the 2016 Olympics. It was so clever.
Yeah, that was a great campaign. They were also quick to jump on the Pokemon Go craze.
Right. They always seem to be on top of what's happening.
Exactly. It makes them feel less like a faceless corporation and more like a brand that's part of the conversation.
I also feel like they use humor really well.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Their use of memes and funny content is a deliberate strategy to connect with a younger audience.
It makes them relatable.
Exactly. It's marketing that doesn't feel like marketing.
So social media is obviously a big focus. But what about email marketing? I get some pretty interesting emails from Zomato.
Their email strategy is quite sophisticated. They craft compelling subject lines that grab your attention and use clear calls to action.
So it's not just about blasting out generic messages.
No, they put a lot of thought into it. The case study mentioned a really creative campaign they ran around the release of Mirzapur Season 2 on Amazon Prime.
Oh, okay. I don't think I saw that one.
They used lines from the show in their subject lines and a funny hire immediately call to action.
Hire immediately. That's hilarious.
Yeah, it was a really clever way to tie into a popular show and stand out in people's inboxes.
So they're thinking outside the box with email too. Now, all of this is great. But what about SEO? Have they been successful in getting people to find them organically when they're searching for food online?
Their SEO game is incredibly strong. The latest data shows they were ranking for over 7.5 million keywords.
Wow.
Bringing in about 78 million monthly organic visitors.
That's huge.
And they've built over 12.7 million backlinks from high-authority domains. So yeah, they're killing it on the SEO front.
That's impressive. So they're getting a ton of free traffic, basically.
Pretty much, it's a testament to their long-term SEO strategy.
So they're not just relying on paid advertising?
No, but they do utilize paid search as well. They use Google AdWords for both search and display campaigns.
Okay, so they're covering all their bases.
Exactly. They're targeting relevant keywords like food, restaurant names, online food ordering, you name it.
So they're being strategic with their paid spending as well, making sure they reach potential customers at different stages of their journey.
Exactly. It's all about having a multi-pronged approach.
Now, another big part of digital marketing these days is influencer marketing. How does Zomato approach that?
They've got a really interesting strategy. They work with both macro influencers who have a huge following and micro-influencers who might have a smaller following but are super engaged with their audience.
So they're getting the best of both worlds.
Exactly. They've also adopted this hyper-local marketing approach, creating content in different regional languages.
That's smart, making it relevant to specific communities.
And they're not afraid to poke fun at themselves or even leverage their controversies.
Really?
Yeah, the case study mentions how they use humor in their tweets even when they're facing some backlash. It can be risky, but it keeps them in the conversation.
It's definitely a bold strategy. So they're not shying away from being a little edgy now beyond all the marketing. Zomato has also been pretty active with acquisitions, right?
Oh yeah, acquisitions have been a key part of their growth strategy. It allows them to expand into new markets, acquire new technologies, and even enter new segments.
They've bought a lot of companies, right?
Yeah, they've acquired 12 startups globally since 2014.
Wow. What are some of the key ones?
Well, there's Urban Spoon, which really boosted their presence in international markets. And then they acquired logistics companies like Sparse Labs and Run Runner, which helped them build out their delivery infrastructure.
So those were strategic acquisitions to improve their operations.
Exactly. And then there's Tech Eagle Innovations, a drone delivery company.
Drone? That's interesting. Are they doing drone deliveries now?
Not yet, but it shows they're thinking about the future of delivery.
Yeah, looking ahead. And of course, there's the big one, the acquisition of Uber Eats India business.
Oh, yeah. That was a game changer that instantly gave them a much larger share of the Indian market.
And Uber became a shareholder in Zomato at that point.
Right. It was a major consolidation move. And then more recently, they invested in Grofers, the online grocery delivery platform.
So they're getting into the grocery game now, too.
It's a natural extension of their existing business.
It makes sense, but some of those investments have shifted around, haven't they?
Yeah, Uber exited their stake in Zomato in 2022.
Okay.
And Tiger Global also sold some of their shares. It just goes to show you how dynamic and fluid this market is.
Things are constantly changing.
Investors are always evaluating and adjusting their positions based on market performance and future prospects.
So it's not just about acquiring companies, it's about managing those investments over time. So what's next for Zomato? What are their big focus areas, and how are they doing financially?
Well, the COVID-19 pandemic actually gave their sales a big boost as more people turned to online food delivery.
Right, that makes sense.
In the financial year 2021-22, they reported a 123% increase in revenue, reaching over 40,100 crore rupees.
That's a massive jump, but I also remember reading that they were still operating at a loss.
That's right. Despite the revenue growth, they reported a loss of over 1,000 crore rupees that year.
Well, what were the main reasons for the loss?
A lot of it was due to increased spending on marketing and customer acquisition. They were really pushing for growth.
So it's a bit of a balancing act, right? Growing rapidly, but also trying to reach profitability.
Exactly. And analysts are still very optimistic about the Indian online food delivery market. It's projected to reach a turnover of $110 billion by 2025.
Wow, that's a huge opportunity.
It is, but the penetration of online food delivery in India is still relatively low compared to other markets, so there's a lot of room for growth.
So they're in a good position to capitalize on that growth.
Absolutely. They've narrowed their focus on 3 key areas: their core food ordering and delivery platform, their B2B initiative called Hyperpure, which supplies restaurants with ingredients, and their foray into quick commerce delivering groceries and essentials.
So they're diversifying, but also staying true to their core business.
Exactly. It's a smart strategy for long-term sustainability.
So to wrap it all up, we've seen Zomato evolve from a simple idea to a major force in the online food delivery industry.
It's been quite a journey.
They've adapted their business model, embraced digital marketing, and made strategic acquisitions to stay ahead of the game.
And they're constantly innovating, exploring new technologies, and expanding into new markets.
Their future success will depend on balancing growth with profitability and navigating the ever-changing dynamics of this exciting market.
It's a fascinating space to watch, and it leaves us with a question for you.
Okay.
What do you think is the next big thing in the online food delivery world?
Good question.
What innovation or challenge will shape the future of how we get our food?
It's something to think about for sure. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.
It's been a pleasure.
We'll see you next time.